Do you ever stop and ask yourself why most people chase wealth as if it were a fleeting shadow, always out of reach, always slipping through their fingers? Why some rise effortlessly, as if the universe bends toward them, while others remain trapped in cycles of effort that yield nothing but exhaustion and regret? Look inside, because the answers do not reside in markets, algorithms, or trends. They dwell in the hidden chambers of your own mind. Success, the kind that lasts, does not arrive by chance. It does not stumble upon those who are unprepared. It is called forth, quietly, deliberately, by those who understand the secret law. Mastery of the inner world precedes mastery of the outer. Consider the mind that is disciplined, not disciplined for appearances, not disciplined to impress others, but disciplined to align thought with action, desire with restraint, vision with reality. Such a mind does not flinch at challenge. It does not panic at setbacks. It does not waste its fire on fleeting distractions. It burns steadily, invisibly, generating the heat that transforms effort into exponential momentum. This is the mind of the person who will not merely earn, they will create a force that draws wealth, opportunity, and influence as naturally as gravity pulls. We live in a world intoxicated with immediacy. People measure success in notifications, in fleeting applause, in validation that evaporates before it can solidify. But the real architects, the unseen alchemists of wealth, operate in silence. They cultivate patience. They refine focus. They train desire to obey, not to demand. They act as if the world does not exist, not from ignorance, but from supreme internal authority. And this is what you must understand. Discipline is not a limitation, it is freedom. Clarity is not denial, it is power. And patience is not waiting, it is the instrument of inevitability. Ask yourself if you could see your life not as scattered moments of effort, but as a coherent system, a network of actions compounding invisibly toward ultimate results. How would you act differently today? How would you think differently? How would you arrange your energy, your attention, your time? Most people are enslaved by impulse, distracted by noise, seduced by the illusion of urgency. You must learn to act as though nothing outside you matters, because nothing outside you will ever be as powerful as the control you exert within. Wealth, online earnings, influence, they are the reflections of mental architecture, not the cause. The person who controls their fear, directs their desire, contains their emotion, and executes with relentless precision will always draw resources. It is not magic, it is cause and effect, accelerated by the compounding of consistent, disciplined action. The impatient cannot see it, the fearful cannot reach it, the distracted cannot hold it, but you, if you choose to cultivate this inner law, will. Every morning you rise, you are faced with choices that define your trajectory. Most people respond with reaction, with routine, with impulse. You must rise with intention. You must align thought, desire, and action. You must act as though each choice is sacred. Each moment is a building block in a structure that will carry you far beyond ordinary outcomes. This is not hyperbole. This is psychology. This is the law of results that no trend, no gimmick, no viral formula can ever replace. And here is the first revelation you must internalize. The person you are today is the cumulative product of small decisions made over time. Every distraction indulged, every desire uncontrolled, every emotion unexamined has created unseen inertia. Likewise, every discipline, every moment of focus, every calm choice has created potential, quiet but unstoppable, ready to compound. Success is not sudden, it is inevitable when the mind is prepared, and preparation begins with control over thought, over attention, over desire. You must understand the subtle art of patience, not as passivity, but as a deliberate cultivation of leverage. Most people hustle, burn, and exhaust themselves in the illusion of productivity. You will learn to move with precision, to execute when required, to wait when necessary, to strike with clarity instead of frenzy. The market will fluctuate, the algorithms will change, the world will demand frenzy, but you, steady, disciplined, and prepared, will act only when your internal law dictates. This is the secret psychology of success that most will never articulate. To master external results, you must first master your internal world. Desire must be contained, emotion must be refined, focus must be sharpened, clarity must be unwavering. Only then can the external universe begin to reflect the inevitability of your inner architecture. Wealth, influence, and freedom are not things you pursue, they are consequences of the internal law you create. And so the question remains, are you willing to discipline your mind, refine your desire, temper your emotion, and commit to the slow, invisible accumulation of power? Or will you continue to chase fleeting signals, to react to noise, to squander your potential in bursts of unsustained effort? The difference between those who fail and those who dominate is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is the cultivation of internal mastery, the unwavering alignment of thought, desire, and action, the ability to act as though nothing outside you matters because everything inside you has been prepared to command reality itself. Now imagine the mind that does not panic at the sight of failure, that does not waver when fortune falters, that does not seek comfort in the illusions of immediacy. Such a mind is rare, almost invisible in its quiet power, but unstoppable once it is forged. Every decision it makes is deliberate, every motion precise, every desire contained and directed. You begin to see that the outer world is only a reflection of the inner state, that markets, trends, algorithms, and opportunities respond less to frantic effort than to the calm, consistent momentum of an aligned mind. This is where the discipline of patience becomes your sharpest tool. Patience is not waiting passively, it is an active engagement with time itself. Each moment of calm, each refusal to act without clarity compounds invisibly. Every deliberate step is an investment into inevitability. You no longer chase results, they chase you, because your systems, your preparation, and your discipline have created a gravitational pull the world cannot resist. You notice how most people live their lives at the mercy of their impulses. They react to fear, they respond to desire, they surrender to distraction. But you are different. You have learned the alchemy of desire, how to channel it, contain it, sharpen it, and use it as fuel without allowing it to consume you. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is not in talent or luck, it is in the mastery of the self. And self-mastery begins with the mind. In online earning, this difference is amplified. The market is volatile, the competition is relentless, the algorithms are opaque. The unprepared mind panics, the emotional mind overtrades, overposts, overreacts, but the disciplined mind observes, calculates, and executes with precision. It understands timing, leverage, and compounding in ways that go unseen by the frantic majority. And this unseen mastery manifests visibly, consistent growth, enduring systems, and opportunities that appear inevitable because the foundation was laid silently, patiently, and with authority. You begin to understand the sacred economy of energy. Attention is your currency, focus is your leverage. Every moment squandered by distraction, every ounce of emotional energy spent on noise, every action taken without intention is a loss of capital. But when you invest attention deliberately, execute precisely, and act from internal authority, your momentum compounds in ways most people cannot even perceive. This is the invisible work, the work that separates fleeting ambition from enduring influence. And here is the truth that will define you. You do not need external validation, praise, recognition, virality,
Likes, they are fleeting reflections, not foundations. The foundation is internal: clarity, discipline, patience, self-mastery, and alignment. When these are cultivated, the external universe is compelled to follow. It is not coincidence, it is inevitability. And inevitability is the reward of those who do the unseen, unglamorous work of internal mastery. Desire, now disciplined, becomes a tool of creation rather than chaos. Impulse is no longer your master, it is your instrument. You act with intention, with strategy, with vision. You no longer chase fleeting opportunities or empty applause. You move in alignment with systems that magnify your efforts. Every action compounds, every choice is leveraged, every moment is invested into a trajectory of inevitability. At the same time, your emotional world is refined. You no longer allow fear, doubt, or frustration to dictate action. They are data, not masters. Challenges are no longer threats, they are instruments, teaching the precision of your execution, the depth of your patience, and the durability of your discipline. Every obstacle becomes a calibration of your inner architecture, and every victory, even the smallest, compounds silently to fortify the structure of your momentum. You begin to realize that true mastery is not in doing more, it is in doing with alignment. It is the quiet repetition of deliberate, precise action. It is the careful construction of systems that operate independently of emotion, hype, or external chaos. This is the difference between short-lived hustle and long-term inevitability. Hustle burns, systems endure, mastery multiplies. You also start to see the subtlety of detachment. Emotional detachment does not mean apathy, it means clarity. It means acting from purpose, not panic. It means observing chaos without being consumed by it. It means understanding that outcomes are the reflection of internal alignment and that the external world is always secondary to the state of your mind. This detachment is not coldness, it is power. It is the power to act when others falter, to persist when others quit, to create when others imitate. The mind that masters itself becomes magnetic. Opportunity is drawn to it because it radiates coherence. Systems are aligned around it because it imposes internal order externally. Influence spreads quietly because people sense the authority that requires no declaration. This is not luck, it is the natural effect of disciplined alignment, compounded through invisible action and patient refinement. Now, understand this. The internal architecture you are building is stronger than the external fluctuations of fortune. Markets rise and fall, platforms change, audiences fluctuate, but your disciplined mind remains constant. Your systems operate regardless of emotion. Your decisions are guided by clarity, not panic. And this constancy is what allows compounding to work its invisible magic, creating momentum that will carry you far beyond the reach of ordinary effort. And so the principle becomes clear. To control your external reality, first control your internal one. To master online earning, first master the mind that executes the strategy. To manifest wealth and influence, first manifest patience, focus, and emotional authority. Every external tool, money, systems, social platforms, is amplified only by the internal mastery that governs it. Without this, external success is chaotic, fleeting, and unsustainable. With it, results become inevitable. Your task is simple in principle, but difficult in execution. Discipline your mind, refine your desire, strengthen your focus, contain your emotion, and act with patient inevitability. Let every choice reflect your internal law. Let every action compound toward the trajectory of mastery. Let every failure teach, every obstacle calibrate, and every victory fortify the systems you have built. This is the psychology of wealth, influence, and online earning. This is the architecture of inevitability. And the moment you truly internalize this, you stop chasing the world. You stop reacting to trends. You stop allowing emotion to dictate action. Instead, you begin to command, to create, to execute with the precision of someone who understands that time is the ultimate lever, patience is the ultimate weapon, and internal alignment is the ultimate authority. This is not theory. This is practice. This is preparation. This is the work that the world rarely sees, but the world always responds to. You act silently. You persist invisibly. You compound relentlessly. And one day, not by luck, but by inevitability, the results manifest in ways the undisciplined cannot comprehend. And now you ask yourself, will you continue to be swept along by fleeting desire, chaos, and impulse? Or will you step into the relentless rhythm of mastery, where every thought, every action, every moment is aligned with the inevitable? The choice is yours, but understand this: nothing outside you will give permission. Nothing outside you will guarantee success. The law is internal. The leverage is internal. The inevitability is internal. And when you claim it fully, everything outside you will bend to reflect the alignment you carry within. Now you begin to feel the subtle shift. The world is no longer a series of obstacles. It is a canvas, a network of systems, a web of potential. You realize that the external fluctuations of money, trends, platforms, and opportunities are meaningless unless you have cultivated the internal architecture capable of sustaining and multiplying them. The mind that is disciplined is a mind that commands inevitability. And this is where true manifestation begins, not as wishful thinking, not as frantic effort, but as deliberate creation anchored in internal authority. Emotions, once chaotic, are now instruments. Anger becomes clarity, frustration becomes focus, desire becomes fuel, fear becomes data. You no longer react, you respond. Every stimulus is measured against the framework of your internal law. Will this move me closer to my vision, or will it distract me from it? Every choice becomes strategic, every action deliberate. And in this precision, the invisible machinery of compounding begins to accelerate. Vision itself takes on a new quality. You no longer set vague goals or chase fleeting trends. Your vision is a living blueprint, a mental construct refined by discipline, sharpened by patience, and powered by belief. It is no longer aspirational, it is inevitable. You see not just the next step, but the trajectory, the cascade, the domino effect of every decision, every action, every system you build. This is how extraordinary results emerge, not by luck, but by design, by alignment, by relentless compounding of deliberate action. And as your understanding deepens, you recognize the quiet yet lethal power of emotional detachment. Most people allow desire, fear, and validation to dictate action. They are slaves to momentary impulses, victims of circumstance. You, however, have cultivated the rare ability to hold desire without being consumed by it, to observe opportunity without panic, to act without the need for approval. Detachment is not coldness, it is precision, it is clarity, it is the lens through which manifestation becomes inevitable. You also perceive the subtle interplay between patience and action. Too many confuse patience with inaction or action with progress. But in the psychology of success, every step must be deliberate, every move measured, every delay strategic. You do not act because the moment feels right. You act because your internal law dictates it. You wait when preparation is required. You strike when leverage is optimal. You persist when the world would quit. And in this rhythm, results appear inevitable because your actions are aligned with principle, not impulse. The financial systems you are building, the online businesses, the streams of income, the networks of influence, begin to operate like extensions of your internal mastery. They are no longer burdens, they are magnifiers. Every method, every strategy, every effort is compounded by your discipline.
Markets, audiences, algorithms, they respond predictably because they are systems, and you have become a master of systems. What others see as chance, as luck, as fortune, is simply the visible manifestation of invisible alignment. And in this realization, desire is refined further. You begin to distinguish between cravings and vision, between short-term satisfaction and long-term inevitability, between fleeting excitement and compounding momentum. You no longer allow the mind to be hijacked by transient impulses. You act only from the intersection of strategy, alignment, and vision. Desire becomes a tool, sharpened, directed, unstoppable. Now the importance of emotional sovereignty becomes clear. You notice the patterns in others: panic under pressure, impulsive action, surrender to fear, obsession with validation. These patterns are everywhere because human nature is undisciplined, but you have been trained differently. Your nervous system, your attention, your clarity, your patience, all are under your command. You respond where others react. You persist where others quit. You create where others imitate. And this creates a gravitational pull, the invisible force that draws wealth, influence, and opportunity to you. Manifestation itself is revealed as a law, not a hope. What you imagine when combined with disciplined action becomes inevitable. But imagination without discipline is fantasy. Desire without control is chaos. Vision without execution is hollow. And execution without alignment is wasted effort. The psychology of true financial and online mastery lies at the intersection of these elements: the mind trained, the desire disciplined, the vision refined, the action relentless, and the patience uncompromising. You begin to realize that every setback, every unexpected twist, every failure, every rejection
is not punishment. It is data. Every obstacle is a test of your systems, your patience, your clarity, your emotional authority. And when observed correctly, these challenges accelerate your mastery. They are not deterrents, they are catalysts. They temper your mind, sharpen your focus, refine your strategy, and strengthen your internal architecture. Even the seemingly random fluctuations of markets, platforms, or audience behavior no longer intimidate you. You recognize patterns where others see chaos. You identify leverage where others see risk. You calculate probability where others guess. Your mastery transforms uncertainty into opportunity. This is the ultimate difference. The disciplined mind sees inevitability. The untrained mind sees luck. And as you continue to refine this awareness, the subtle law of compounding reveals itself. Every disciplined choice, every refined action, every moment of emotional control, every calibrated decision accumulates into momentum that cannot be stopped. Systems built in alignment with clarity multiply. Influence guided by patient execution spreads beyond effort. Wealth generated by strategic consistency compounds silently, invisibly, inexorably. Now, the final invisible law becomes undeniable. True wealth, influence, and freedom are not external. They are reflections of internal mastery. The stronger your mind, the steadier your discipline, the clearer your vision, the more inevitable your results. This is why so few achieve enduring success. The majority chase outcomes without mastering themselves. But you, if you continue on this path, will embody inevitability itself. And so the question rises within you. Will you remain tethered to distraction, to impulse, to fleeting desire? Or will you commit fully, relentlessly, unflinchingly to the cultivation of your internal power, the alignment of mind, emotion, and action that transforms every effort into momentum, every moment into leverage, and every vision into inevitability? The path is clear, the work is known, the law is visible, and the time to act is now.
Now you begin to feel the gravity of responsibility settle into your bones, the responsibility not to the world, not to applause or approval, but to the person you are becoming. Every thought, every choice, every action is now a test of your alignment, a measure of your discipline, a reflection of your internal authority. The nervous system that once flinched under stress now thrives in tension. The mind that once trembled at uncertainty now perceives clarity where others see chaos. The desire that once controlled you now bends to your will, directed and precise. You see the subtle, invisible systems that govern success. The platforms, the markets, the algorithms, the attention of the masses, they all operate according to rules, patterns, and predictability. But the untrained mind is blind to them. It reacts, it chases, it panics. You, however, have cultivated the ability to see patterns, to predict flows, to act when leverage is optimal, and to persist when others falter. This is the distinction between fleeting effort and unstoppable momentum, alignment with systems, internal authority, and inevitability. Mental resilience is your new currency. You no longer allow setbacks to destabilize you. Losses, failures, and unexpected variables are not threats, they are instruments, they are feedback, they are data. They teach you the precision of timing, the subtle calibration of patience, and the strength of persistence. Each challenge strengthens your internal architecture. Each obstacle becomes a stepping stone. Each difficulty a tool to refine your focus, sharpen your execution, and reinforce your discipline. You begin to perceive desire in a new light. It is no longer frantic, chaotic, or distracting. It is controlled, directed, and amplified. Impulses no longer govern your actions. They are harnessed, refined, and used to accelerate your trajectory. You do not pursue fleeting opportunities. You create leverage. You do not react to external chaos. You operate from internal authority. Desire becomes a compass, not a leash, a fuel, not a fire that consumes you. And as this clarity deepens, you understand the power of detachment. Detachment is not apathy. It is not avoidance. It is not disengagement. It is the ability to observe without being consumed, to act without panic, to maintain internal alignment when chaos surrounds you. Most people surrender to fear, indulge in desire, or crumble under pressure. You do not. You act with precision, persist with patience, and execute with calm authority. And in this calm, the world begins to bend towards you, not by coincidence, but by invisible law. The systems you build now operate like extensions of your discipline. Every business model, every strategy, every online endeavor is amplified because it is constructed on foundations of clarity, patience, and alignment. What others perceive as luck, timing, or privilege is merely the visible manifestation of invisible mastery. You are no longer at the mercy of trends, algorithms, or opinions. You are the axis around which opportunity rotates. The chaos of the market bends to the coherence of your preparation. You notice how small choices compound into life-altering momentum. Every moment of focus, every refusal of distraction, every disciplined action accumulates into leverage that grows faster than effort alone could achieve. This is the invisible law that separates transient success from unstoppable dominance. While others chase the noise, you build silently, patiently, relentlessly. And one day that silent accumulation becomes visible, undeniable, inevitable. Your emotional world is now a finely tuned instrument. Fear no longer freezes you, doubt no longer paralyzes you, frustration no longer blinds you. Each emotion is calibrated, measured, and converted into clarity. You act not from panic, but from internal authority.
You move not because of external pressure, but because your internal law commands motion. You have trained yourself to operate above the chaos, and this is the advantage few ever attain. Vision takes on a tangible, almost sacred quality. You see not only the immediate steps, but the trajectory of compounding systems, the cascading effects of aligned decisions, the unfolding of opportunities invisible to those who act impulsively. This is not fantasy. This is the architecture of inevitability. When action, patience, desire, and alignment converge, manifestation becomes law. Results are not hoped for, they are inevitable. And in this space, you realize the subtle yet profound law of compounding discipline. One precise action today creates outcomes tomorrow. One calm response under pressure strengthens the nervous system for future challenges. One refusal to chase fleeting satisfaction preserves momentum. Every small, deliberate effort accumulates, invisible yet unstoppable, until it manifests as undeniable success. You begin to perceive the psychology of influence. The disciplined, aligned mind radiates authority without words. People, systems, and opportunities respond not because you demand it, but because coherence is magnetic. This is the invisible law few understand. When internal mastery exists, external results follow automatically. You do not chase, persuade, or manipulate. You command by alignment. At this point, failure itself becomes an instrument. It is no longer a verdict on your worth or ability. It is feedback, calibration, and a tool for refinement. Every setback tests the structure you have built. Every obstacle measures your patience, and every disappointment strengthens your capacity. The nervous system, mind, and discipline that have been trained in adversity become your advantage, allowing you to persist, to adapt, and to dominate quietly, invisibly, inevitably. And now you realize something terrifying and empowering at once. The world will always challenge you. Markets will fluctuate, platforms will shift, people will doubt, trends will fade, opportunities will vanish, but these external forces are irrelevant if your internal architecture is unshakable. Discipline, patience, clarity, emotional sovereignty, and relentless execution are impervious to chaos, and these are the only true levers of wealth, influence, and online mastery. So, every decision you make from
This point forward must reflect this reality. Every action must compound your momentum. Every choice must reinforce your alignment. Every moment of patience, every calibrated response, every refusal of distraction, every deliberate step toward your vision becomes the invisible engine of inevitability. You are no longer participating, you are commanding. You are no longer reacting, you are manifesting. And as this awareness settles, you feel it, the unstoppable rhythm of mastery, the invisible, relentless force that grows quietly, accumulates invisibly, and compounds into dominance. You are not rushed, you are not panicked, you are not desperate. You act with precision, you persist with patience, you execute with clarity. And in this, the world begins to bend, not because it must, but because your alignment is inevitable. You begin to perceive that true power in wealth and online earning is not in money itself, nor in traffic, nor in followers, nor in metrics. It is in leverage. The ability to make small, precise actions produce results far beyond their apparent effort. The ability to create systems that work invisibly, tirelessly, compounding even while you sleep. The ability to harness time, attention, and energy into outcomes that appear miraculous to the untrained eye. But to wield this power, you must first wield the self. Your mind has become a weapon, sharp, disciplined, patient, and precise. It moves with clarity where others stumble in chaos.
It acts with strategy where others act in desperation. It perseveres where others quit in frustration. Every thought, every decision, every impulse is examined against the law of alignment. Does this action build leverage or dissipate it? Does it compound momentum or scatter it? The answer guides you, not fear, not desire, not distraction. And in this clarity, you begin to see results manifest almost as if the universe itself is acknowledging your preparation. At this point, you understand that desire is not to be suppressed, it is to be refined. The frantic, chaotic pull that once dominated you has been transformed into a controlled, directed force. Impulse is no longer your master, it is your instrument. You act not in reaction to the world, but in accordance with your internal law. You do not chase fleeting opportunities, you create leverage. You do not wait for luck, you design inevitability. And in this precision, every effort you make carries an exponential weight. The world, with all its distractions, chaos, and noise, no longer commands your attention. You have learned the sacred economy of focus. Every moment, every ounce of energy, every decision is preserved, refined, and deployed with maximum effect. You no longer participate in the endless cycles of reaction that enslave most people. You act deliberately, intentionally, relentlessly. And as you do, your systems amplify your efforts, multiplying your results far beyond ordinary expectation. You notice how influence now flows toward you effortlessly, not because you demand it, not because you announce it, but because the internal authority you carry radiates externally. People, opportunities, and systems respond to coherence. You act, execute, and persist quietly, invisibly, and the world bends without resistance. This is the subtle law that separates the transient from the enduring. Most hustle, you manifest. Most chase, you command. Most react, you align. And the results, once elusive, become inevitable. Even failure itself has been transformed. It is no longer a source of panic or doubt. It is data. It is feedback. It is calibration. Every setback refines your strategy, strengthens your discipline, and reinforces your patience. You persist not because you are fearless, but because you have mastered fear. You move forward not because outcomes are guaranteed, but because your internal alignment ensures that every deliberate action compounds toward inevitability. You begin to perceive that manifestation is the convergence of multiple invisible forces: vision, desire, discipline, patience, and execution. Alone, none is sufficient. Together, they produce outcomes that seem impossible until you witness them in your own life. Vision without discipline is fantasy. Desire without patience is chaos. Action without alignment is wasted effort. And alignment without execution is potential unfulfilled. But when these forces converge, wealth, influence, and freedom manifest as the natural consequence of internal mastery. And you understand something deeper still. Time is your greatest leverage. Most squander it in distraction, noise, and fleeting gratification. You invest it deliberately, patiently, relentlessly. Every hour of focus compounds, every disciplined action multiplies, every calibrated decision accumulates momentum that will carry you far beyond ordinary effort. Time, when aligned with mastery, becomes your ally. Chaos becomes irrelevant, opportunity becomes inevitable, results become law. You also recognize the invisible advantage of emotional sovereignty. Others are swept along by panic, desire, and validation. You remain steady. You observe, measure, and act. The nervous system, trained through patience, resilience, and discipline, allows you to operate in environments that would overwhelm most people. You move calmly, precisely, invisibly, and the compounding effect of this mastery multiplies in ways impossible to see at first, but undeniable over time. The final principle becomes clear. Every system you build, every network you create, every platform you engage, every strategy you execute is a reflection of your internal architecture. External results are merely the visible echo of invisible mastery. And mastery itself is silent, patient, relentless. You have become the force that turns effort into leverage, chaos into clarity, desire into disciplined fuel, and vision into inevitability. And now, standing on the precipice of culmination, you sense the final truth. The only thing between you and unstoppable success is action fully aligned with internal mastery. Every hesitation, every delay, every compromise is a deviation from inevitability. But when you step fully into the rhythm of mastery, every effort compounds, every system amplifies, every moment multiplies, every vision manifests. You are no longer chasing life, you are commanding it. This is the final preparation. The invisible momentum, the compounding systems, the refined desire, the disciplined mind, the calibrated emotion, all converge. The stage is set, the tools are in place, the internal authority is unshakable, and now the transformation is ready to manifest. Do you feel it? That quiet pressure in your chest, that pull towards something greater than comfort, than habit, than the ordinary? That is the call of inevitability. It whispers not in noise or distraction, but in clarity. It asks one simple question: will you remain a participant in your life, reacting to chaos, or will you become the force the universe bends around? Right now, every fiber of your being is being tested, not by the markets, not by platforms, not by circumstance, but by yourself. Every moment you hesitate, every ounce of energy you waste on indecision is a delay in the manifestation of your full potential. You have trained for this. Every failure you endured, every obstacle you overcame, every disciplined moment of focus, every refusal of fleeting gratification has built the engine that now demands action. The mind you have forged is not fragile, it is relentless. The nervous system you have tempered is not weak, it thrives under pressure. The desire you have refined is not chaotic, it drives you with laser precision. And now the world waits, silently, inevitably, for you to step fully into the momentum you have created. You notice how ordinary people are paralyzed by doubt. They see opportunity and hesitate. They feel fear and retreat. They desire wealth, influence, and freedom, yet surrender to the tyranny of distraction and impulse. You are not ordinary. You have trained yourself in the invisible forces: patience, emotional sovereignty, relentless execution, strategic desire, and disciplined alignment. You are the architect of systems that multiply results. You are the master of your own nervous system. You are the force that transforms effort into leverage, chaos into clarity, and vision into inevitability. Look at the life you have been building. Every action, every thought, every decision, every refusal to indulge fleeting impulses has compounded silently, invisibly. And now that accumulation is no longer invisible. It demands recognition. Your execution is unstoppable. Your systems are self-sustaining. Your momentum is inevitable. And the only remaining step is full, deliberate, unapologetic action. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, now. Understand this: success is not about luck, timing, or talent. Those are illusions sold to the unprepared. Real, enduring success is about internal law. The mind mastered, desire disciplined, emotion contained, focus sharpened, patience perfected, systems aligned, actions executed. This is the law of manifestation. This is the psychology of wealth and influence. This is the invisible architecture that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. And now
You stand on the threshold of transformation. There is no room for hesitation. There is no place for doubt. There is no value in waiting for external validation. You are ready, whether you feel ready or not. You have trained. You have prepared. You have endured. Your nervous system, mind, and desire are now calibrated for action that cannot fail, not because life owes you, but because the internal law you embody guarantees momentum and inevitability. Step into it fully. Let every thought, every action, every decision, every moment be aligned with the vision, the discipline, and the inevitability you have cultivated. Build with relentless precision, execute with unwavering patience, persist through resistance with calm authority. Allow desire to fuel you without consuming you. Let fear teach you without controlling you. Act from the intersection of clarity and power, where momentum becomes unstoppable and results manifest as law. The life you have imagined, the influence you have envisioned, the wealth and freedom you have sought, they are no longer distant. They are not waiting for luck, opportunity, or permission. They are waiting for alignment. They are waiting for you to step fully into the authority you have forged. Every system you have built, every habit you have trained, every moment of discipline you have endured converges now, demanding your full presence, your decisive action, your unshakable commitment. Do not shrink, do not hesitate, do not negotiate with fear or desire. The world bends only for those who command, not for those who plead. Act now with the calm intensity of inevitability. Build now with patient ferocity. Persist now with unflinching resolve. Let every moment be sacred. Let every decision be precise. Let every action compound. And in doing so, become the unstoppable force around which life itself bends. This is your transformation, not someday, not when conditions are perfect, not when the world is kind. Now. This is the culmination of every struggle, every discipline, every lesson, every moment of patience, every failure that taught you refinement, every act of focus, every refusal to chase fleeting impulses. This is your inevitability, and it will not wait. Step fully into mastery. Claim your momentum. Execute with precision. Manifest with authority. Become inevitable. Let the world bend, not by chance, but because you are the force around which outcomes revolve. This is your moment. This is your law. This is your life transformed. Act now, and nothing, neither fear, nor doubt, nor chaos, can ever stop you.